access to it. All right, so with that, what we're going to start tonight is kind of like not a rough draft practice portfolio. And this is just to teach you guys how InDesign lays out books and how you guys can start working with graphics and images and text all at once in this one document. I want to write a couple notes on the board about how I want you guys to lay this out. And part of me just wants to start everybody at an 8.5 by 11, right? So remember, this is a spread, so each one of these is an 8.5 by 11. But there are many printing companies that go beyond the 8.5 by 11. The majority of you guys will be submitting, I think, up to the University of Utah or UVU, and I think their standard size is just the letter 8.5 by 11. If I'm wrong, let me know and we'll update it. But I also use InDesign publishing for things other than portfolios. I use a company called Blurb to do photo albums. I even used it to do my portfolio. And they have plugins that actually directly tie into InDesign too, so that you can publish straight to Blurb. So you can, are you guys familiar with a company called Chatbooks? They just send you, so there's a company called Chatbooks and they send you photo albums. They're like little 5x5 photo albums. They've got a really nice aesthetic. But just about everybody does photo albums now, whether it's, you know, Costco or your pharmacy, Blurb. So there's really professional printing labs, and then everybody else does it now too. So InDesign can help you guys put together books to send to those people. So that's kind of what we're getting towards. We're learning how to do the layout, and then once we have our layout completed, we will try, we're not going to actually print it by sending it to Blurb, but I'm going to show you guys how to prepare the file so that you could send it to somebody like Costco or Blurb, or there's another huge one. Shutterfly is another big photo printing company as well. What was it? Yeah, well, I mean, so many people do it now. So I'll teach you guys how to prepare it for something like that. I'll teach you guys how to prepare it to submit as a digital PDF in 2 ways. One of them just an email, and then another one just to host it online so that you can send somebody a link and they can look at it on the web like a book, so they can actually flip pages. And then the last way would be, how do you just print it here on like a regular printer? So one document kind of exported and finished off several different ways. So when I say that I want the majority of us starting out on an 8.5 by 11, I want you guys to also realize that there's many more formats than the 8.5 by 11. So before we get too far, because this is our rough draft practice, I wouldn't mind if you guys hopped online and did some research and looked at Blurb, or I think one of them's called Snapfish, and Shutterfly. Really just type into photo book and so many things will pop up. Shutterfly is great because they're always doing promotions where they give you a free book and you just pay for shipping, and I think shipping's about $15. I love Blurb just because it's so modern, it's so clean. You can print magazines with them for about $3. And in my other class, we require printing, and so usually the whole class goes in on it, and shipping only ends up being like $20. So it's like $1 a person. If it's just you, it ends up being $20 to ship a $3 magazine. So we'll see in the next week or so if that's something that we want to do. It's kind of nice to get because it's almost like getting a test print, so you can see like the quality of the paper and everything like that. So look into what format you want, because for your portfolio, that's like the actual final portfolio that we'll be making, I will make you guys follow the U of U, which is the letter size. So just for this one, we have some leeway to make it bigger or smaller. When I was in school, we had to do a giant 11 by 17. So that's how big we did it. That's how my students do it in interior design when they graduate. So just know for this one, there is some leeway. You guys can find a size and style you like. But for the final, it's going to change. Everybody has to go with that letter size. So the format that we'll be working in right now I'm not going to actually put the size here, but the basic page setup is going to be really, really, really basic to start us off, because I just want to teach you guys about how the portfolios work. So on each page, you guys are going to have essentially an image of your project. I'm just going to write work, so an image of your work. You're going to have a title. You're going to have a description. And I think that should cover it. So let me talk about title and description. So these two, depending on the person you are, your title might be as simple as Revit Final Project, and your description could be Fall of 2019. I have other students that for that exact same class, how many of you guys have taken Revit before in architecture? Did you guys do the Imbu cabin?
Yes.
Yeah? So in this case, your title might be Imbu cabin, and then your description could be, I did this in the fall of 2018 using Revit 2018, and I did all of these sheets. I also did this, 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 and this. You know, it just, everybody's a little bit different. So I'm flexible on what you want to include in your title and your description. I'm in that camp where I just put what the piece is, and then if I'm lucky enough to remember the date, I will include the date. I'm always amazed. I have students that will write like 2 paragraphs on their work. I just can't do it. And so it's really up to you how far you want to take that description. But it is important to me that along with the description, somewhere in the title, somewhere in the description, let me at least include this. So include the medium, and the medium is how it was constructed. So was it Revit? Was it AutoCAD? Is it a hand sketch using oil pencils? You know, what's the medium? And then also, if you can, try to include the date. Dating your work is really important, because before you know it, 22 years have passed and you look at stuff at your portfolio and you're like, should I still put this in here? So you might want to start weeding it out a little bit. It still might be some of your favorite and maybe best work. You peaked early, I don't know. But you might want to start weeding it out. So keep those in there. For our practice, what we're going to do is just all of our projects essentially from the beginning of the semester until now. So you don't necessarily have to do like the photoshopping for gold like the first night of class, but everything after that is fair game that you've done the majority of the work. So for example, we spent a lot of time on the Salk Institute, doing different variations of the Salk Institute. We also did Utah, putting the Villa Savoy in Utah. There's one more I'm forgetting. The Art Space series was in there. We did the wrong team exercise. We did the floor plans. So that's what I want to see. And part of what I want to see is how you handle the page layout. So do you treat each one of those projects as kind of like a final, where each one of them gets, you know, do you want to do it so that each image is on its own page and then the description and the title is over here? Kind of like a magazine art layout. Do you want to do it, there's just so many options here. Do you want to do it so that the final is here and then kind of like sketches or rough drafts are on this side, but you still have like the title and information over here? So it's going to be simple, but even with the simplicity, there still are lots of options. And then in addition to that, some of you guys who will be pulling in work outside of this class in the future, you guys will be looking at floor plans. And so part of starting to look at how floor plans look once you scrunch them down will be when you guys do include the floor plan that we rendered a couple weeks ago in this one too. You can kind of see how you can start to handle it. I think it should go fairly quickly, but this is going to be an open assignment. So once I open it, there's going to be due dates, but it's going to be open basically until almost the end of the semester. And so what we're going to do is we're going to keep having a back and forth. So I really want you guys to think about the size and placement of your text, the font that you're using, how everything's aligned. And a lot of you may not have done this before, and so there might be things that I see that you don't see yet. So rather than it being like a one and done, we're going to develop it. And with this rough draft, I hope you guys learn a lot of little tricks and things to watch out for, so when you start your final, it goes that much quicker. Okay? So to start off, I'm going to do another introduction on how to start a document in InDesign, kind of a review. And then I'm also going to review how to pull in images, and then it'll be kind of up to you guys to jump in and work on it. So if you guys feel comfortable to jump in and start working, please do. If not, follow along with me. And let me come up here. I'm going to write just a couple more parameters. So everybody should have a cover and include your name and the date. And maybe an image, I'm going to put a question mark on that. We'll see what we're going to include there. So your cover in InDesign is going to be right here in your page layout. And then on your page layout, the next pages look like this. So this is your cover. And then I want you guys to do like a table of contents. And we'll fill that in later. And you might even include an about me. This could be as simple as contact info. Okay? So if you're giving this to me, who are you? How can I get a hold of you after you give this to me? And then essentially after these two requirements, everything else, the work is up to you. And for your rough draft, I'm not going to tell you how many pages it should be, because depending on how you do your layout, it could really change. But again, I want you guys to include at least all of the projects that I just listed. So that's at least 5 or 6. Okay. We'll kind of have to go through that to see. So before I launch into InDesign, is that clear what I'm looking for on the board for our rough draft? Okay. After I do my quick intro, what I'm also going to do tonight, and this will be new for everybody, is how to save and export your file as a PDF. There's going to be 2 different ways that we do it. So with that, maybe if you guys don't mind, hang out with me for like another 10 minutes so we can set up maybe those first sheets together. We might not put in all of the content yet, but we'll just put kind of some placeholders. And then let's all at least export it together, so then after that you all can kind of go off on your own. Does that sound good? Can we start it all together?
Why do we need to export it?
So in InDesign, I'm trying to think. In every other program you can save as a PDF, but in InDesign you always have to export it. It's basically like printing it, but the only thing that InDesign saves as is other InDesign files. And so you export it to a PDF or you export it to a JPEG. That's it. Okay. So Bronson had a good question. He said, why do you have to export it? Exporting in InDesign is basically saving it as a JPEG or saving it as a PDF. And in our class, from here on out, I want most of your files that we're doing in InDesign in a PDF format, because it's going to be a book layout. All right, so I'm going to start with open, and I'm going to start with create new, and I'm going to go to print, and let's just start with letter. And then after, you guys know that you can come here and change your document setup, but one other thing that I'm going to show you is how you can change it after the fact. So after we do our little spiel together, maybe you've decided you want to do a square layout. I'll show you how to change it after the fact. So go ahead and find letter and then just click create. We're not going to change anything else. We're just going to go with the default. And then we are also going to be toggling back between the pages and the properties menu quite a bit. So I'm actually going to pull this off to the side. Just so I can see both. And just based on my little sketch up here, we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages to start. So you can click this button down here. That kind of looks like a new layer button. This time it's a new page. You can click there. Or if you come up on your page and right click, you can also go to insert pages and you can tell it how many more pages you need. So I've got 2. I need 3 more, and I don't need to be that specific just because they are all blank. So I don't need to tell it, you know, after, before, they're all blank. So I can just do it at the end of the document and then hit OK. So again, this button down here, or right click and then insert pages. I think I mentioned last time that if I'm just quickly adding pages, I'll use this. But if I needed to go in and really kind of hone in on how many pages and where I want to add them, I use the insert pages. Do you guys remember what the little boxes are that essentially make up everything in InDesign? Frames, good. Yep, so we want to use frames. So go ahead and on this first page, just type in F for frame. And I'm going to make a big frame right in the middle. So remember, to do a frame, you can click really quickly and it asks what size, or you can click and drag and freehand it. Either way works. But once you're done drawing the frame, what should I hit next unless I want to keep drawing frames? V, good. So I'm going to type in V, and you can see that my cursor changes. So now I can grab this and move this. If I stay in F for frame, it's a little bit tricky because now it just keeps wanting to start. It just wants to keep drawing frames. All right. Tell me how I can turn this frame into a text box. Good. So type in T. Again, your cursor will change, and then click inside. And now go ahead and let's write our name and date for the cover. So I'm going to write Naima Nawabi. And I will even include SLCC It's going to be a long title. I'm going to make this bigger for you guys to see it. Okay, I made mine super big. I'm going to make it smaller. I think you guys will still be able to read it if I make it like an 18 font. But I do want it to be right justified. And I would like my frame to be anchored at the bottom. Not that one. I'm going to find it in one of these sub-menus. Maybe I can't. I do think I just have to do it from here now. So if you click on your frame, you can go to Options. And you have to be clicked outside of the text portion. So make sure your cursor is not on. So hit Escape so you can just grab it, and then go to Options, and then it's under Vertical Justification. I'm going to go to the bottom. And you can even turn on Preview to see what it looks like. So just check this little box right here. Yeah.
I don't see my text frame.
Let's see. Do you see a frame at all?
Yeah, I see.
Okay, so what you should do is hit T and then click inside of it, and then you should be able to add text to it. Did that work or not yet? Okay, cool. You kind of have to convert it into one. I'm going to have you guys do one more thing for me too. Make sure your name is bold. Take a peek at my screen for just a minute. I'm going to show you one other place where some stuff is hidden. But when I have my text highlighted, or just when I'm in text in general, do you guys see where it says character under properties? Okay. Do you see the 3 little dots underneath it? Click on the 3 little dots, and you can auto capitalize stuff too, or do something called small caps. I use this quite a bit. So again, that was under character, and it's called all caps.
Do you get the bold?
Uh-huh.
You change your font. So
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. So in InDesign, you keep your font the same, but do you see how underneath it, it tells you the different styles it has? So depending on the style, it may or may not have bold.
I think we all just have the regular option.
Really? Even under Century Gothic? So look, just to compare apples to apples, find Century Gothic.
Mine is not an option.
What's an option for you?
Bold.
Really? For Century Gothic?
Could be the
Country Blueprint.
Let me try it. Okay, so for me, Country Blueprint doesn't have a bold option either. But even try Arial, or Arial Black is basically Arial Bold, but they have a bold too. See if you guys have options for Arial or Century Gothic. I'm just curious. This could be going back to the cloud thing.
Arial bold, yeah.
Okay, so you do have Arial Bold? Okay. So let me go.
Yes, for Arial, there's a wide range of options.
Yes. Trey, you're going to have to remind me, but I will show you guys how you can fake a bold text type. Do you want me to show you now? Here.
We changed the prints.
Slightly. Here, let me. So what was it called again?
Country Blueprint.
Okay. So everybody try this with me. Grab your name and change it to Country Blueprint for me. So highlight your name, change it to Country Blueprint, and I'm going to show you guys how to do a fake bold. Again, I mixed everything up this semester, so everything's coming out in a different organic order. That's what I'll call it. Right? I like it though. It's good. Everybody got that okay? No Country Blueprint? Are you on your laptop? Okay, so you might not have it on your laptop. Pick another one. You can do this with any font. So grab any of them, but let me show you guys how to do it with this specific one. Sometimes just copying the same font will let me know that, like, will let you know that if what I'm doing is what you're doing, because it looks the same. So after you have it highlighted, do you guys see under appearance where there's a stroke? Okay, so if you take it up to 1, it might be too thick. So by default, if you hit this up, it'll go to 1. But you can also pull down and take it to like a half or even a quarter. And do you see how that starts to make it look bold? So I think it's helpful because sometimes you will find fonts that you really like, but they might be too light. Yeah. So with the like with the outline of the frame, yes, you can stroke those too, and there's different stroke types as well. But that's how you can fake a bold font. Detour. Okay. So in a nutshell, this was just a really quick overview of how to insert and format text. Now, I know we haven't gone over a lot, but let me just tell you guys that what I want you guys to remember is that when you click on a text box, your paragraph styles all come up in your properties menu. So you can still go to the left, center, or right. But then to actually justify all of your text in the frame, you have to go to your options. And under vertical justification, I want to align it to the bottom and make sure preview's on. Now with this though, let me see. Does it work now? Okay, do you see that when I'm inside the text frame with the cursor on, that option goes away? That's because now I'm only looking at individual text within the frame. I have to hit escape to get out of here, and then I can change the text frame with the options. And remember, I'm learning this along with you guys. My menu has totally changed. I just changed it at home, and my husband was trying to Photoshop some new wheels that he wants to buy onto his car, and he's like, where'd all the buttons go? I was like, get used to it, oldie. Times are a-changing. Okay. So far, so good? Yeah. Okay. Let me move on to the next page. Actually, let's move on to page 5. So over in your page browser, come to page 5 for me. Now, for me to do a zoom all, I hit Control-0, and that puts the page into view here. And then on this computer, for whatever reason, I have to slide it to the middle down here. When I'm at home, it just centers both pages. But here, I always have to slide it. Bronson, are you on a Mac?
Yeah.
Do you have to slide yours to the middle too?
No, I think it just...
It auto centers it. Also at home, my screen's like this big, so it has a lot more room just to center everything. Okay. Do these pink and purple lines print?
No.
Do these blue frames print? How can you do a print preview? What button? W. And
Why is it not a real print preview though?
it is a real print preview. It just stands, so when we hit W, it's just going to work mode. But this is a print preview mode. So this is work mode to let us know where our margins are, to show us the distinction between all the different frames. And then, yeah, W print preview, W work mode. Okay. So now here, what we want to do is start adding images. And I'm going to add whatever's on my desktop. Last time we all worked together, we had like the Villa Savoy images and some PSDs. So I'm going to use those. If you guys still have access to those, grab them. If not, just grab what other JPEGs you have. Again, because this is a review, I'm going to show you guys how to pull in images 2 different ways. Do you guys, just mentally right now, think about it. Do you guys remember the 2 ways of pulling in an image?
Control D.
Yep, so Control D is our shortcut. What does it stand for? There's no D in it. It stands for place. Yep, so Control D stands for place. Duh. But when we pull in our images, we can create a frame first and pop it in the frame, or you can just pull it in. Now remember, if you don't have a frame there, it's going to come in really big because it comes in whatever pixel size it is. And so that's one thing to watch out for. So you can do it either way, but just the way that I work, I always like to have a frame there for it. Okay? So let's go ahead and draw a frame. And for this one, click on your screen and draw a 4x4 for me. And make it quick, so look at how I do it. So click, 4, tab, 4. Okay, I'm gonna do that one more time. So click on your screen, 4, and then tab, and then 4. You don't have to hit backspace, you don't have to hit anything. And then just hit enter. And then after that, hit V. So this is kind of like Photoshop where you have to keep doing a whole bunch of little keyboard shortcuts. And then center that for me. Bronson, you just got really short.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, my collar's hunched over, I just noticed. So, see if I can like get rid of the hunch.
Trey, is your work disappearing? Maybe?
No, if I'm selected on the box or the frame, it's there. But if I click off of it,
Oh, hit W. You might be in print preview mode.
right?
Woo! Welcome back. Okay.
I
So,
can still see it on the page over here and under my.
oh yeah.
I just couldn't see it on my. But you should right.
Hey. Okay, cool. Do you guys remember how to make a copy of something quickly in Photoshop? What key would we hold down?
Alt.
Alt. Good. Yep. So hit Alt. So not Control C. That is one way of doing it. But right now, if you're in V, remember 90% of the time we're in V. Click on your frame, hold the Alt key, and you'll see that same double arrowhead. And drag it to the top center for me. And then do another copy bottom center. Okay. And now to actually, wait, am I going too fast? Did you guys get it? Yeah?
You just.
Cool. Do you want me to show you the copy part one more time? You're good? Okay. So again, Alt, double-headed arrow. I'm gonna pop it in here. I hold Alt again. And then like that. Okay. So click on this frame to the right and then do Control D for me. So I'm gonna click on one Villa Savoy and again, pull in anything you'd like. Well, it's really zoomed in, right? So if you come to the center of the image, do you see a little hand trying to high five you? Saying, good job, Abdu. Okay, give it a high five. And then what I want you to see, this is the actual size that the image is. So do you see that frame that pulls up? So typically what I'd like you guys to do, in your properties, do you see where it says frame fitting? So there's one that's fill frame proportionately. So it fills up that square. Or right next to it, you can also fit content. So if you don't want the sides of the image to get chopped off, do the next one. In this particular case though, I do want it to be a square. You can also grab the edges of it, and this is so maddening. So you have to hold the shift key while you pull to make it proportionate. And in Photoshop, they changed it so you don't have to hold shift anymore. So if you guys ever watch me work in Photoshop, I'm constantly doing it wrong because I still hold shift. Because it's been about 4 months since they made that change. But they didn't make it in InDesign yet, so.
You just want a JPEG, right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Just remind me how to upload pictures again.
Yeah. So click on a frame.
Okay.
Yep. And now hit Control D for place. And just go find an image. Now, if you guys are working with PSDs, so here is a PSD, you can turn on Show Import Options. And then when you do that, you can actually control the layers. So you see that I made a layer called Junk, where I pretended I knew how to tag. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to turn off Slcc so I just see the Villa Savoy. And then I can click OK. I won't do too much of a review on the PSD or the PDF. Please review the lecture from Monday if you want to see more on that. But there's a lot more on the PDFs and layer controls. And then let's just pull in one more. And I will pause and wait for you guys to pull in your images, and then we'll export it together. This part. If you want to see a better view quality, right-click on your screen, go to Display Performance, and then High Quality Display. You're welcome. So there's a couple things that I want to run through now, and I am going to go through it slowly just because I think it's not just new to you guys in InDesign, but I think it's just a whole new concept. So it's not just like printing and showing you guys how to print, but I'm going to show you guys how to package and save and export as a PDF. So there's a lot we can do. Let's actually just start with saving. Saving's really straightforward. It's typically like every other program, so File, Save. And just put a copy of this wherever you typically save stuff. So I'm gonna go.
This week 12.
I thought it was 10. Is it 12? I think we're on 10. Yeah.
You did file save in InDesign? File save as.
Uh-huh. Yep, file. No, I just did save because it's the first one. Yep. And again, I'm just going to call this Nawabi DG Portfolio. You guys can call it whatever. So when you start working on an InDesign file, one thing to remember is that when you are placing images, you are placing images maybe from several different locations. So for example, right now I just got images off of my downloads drive, but I have also worked on in an office where I've downloaded stuff. I've gotten some off of the marketing server, maybe some off of the project server drive. So I just have images everywhere. When you guys start to work on this, you might have stuff that you download and save from Canvas. So it could be in your downloads. You could have something on your USB, and then you might even have something on your desktop that you are working on. So again, you might have files everywhere. Now, one thing that you guys can do once you start working on a project is going through and packaging your project. Now, packaging your project is similar to saving, but it goes the extra step. So not only does it save your document, but it also copies and pastes all of your fonts and all of your images. So that way, let's say that Tatiana and I are working on a project together. If I start an InDesign file and I just emailed her the InDesign file, you wouldn't have the images or the text. Have you guys even worked in Microsoft Word or even PowerPoint and then you opened it up on another computer and it looks horrible? Back in the day, I was doing a presentation and I opened it up and I was like, you don't have my fonts. This looks horrible. And so this helps alleviate that, especially if you're still in editing mode. So let's all, again, go up to Package.
Does it also copy all the process? Like if, for example, you do Control-V, would it go back even though it has been shared?
No, it doesn't. So InDesign doesn't have history the way that Photoshop does, unfortunately. But I wouldn't be surprised if within the next 5 years they add it to it, just because they're all becoming more and more alike. So Photoshop used to be its own thing, InDesign was its own thing, Adobe became its parents, and now everything's getting more and more similar. But when we go to Package, there's a lot of steps, but I hope that they're straightforward. So I just want to go over what the steps are. So the first thing is it's telling you a summary. So it's about to tell us that there are 2 fonts, 0 are missing. Links and images, there's 3 links found. None of them are missing, because remember, if you delete something off of your downloads, it's no longer in InDesign anymore. So it's going to warn you if something's missing. If you go under fonts, it lists the fonts that you're using. So I have Century Gothic and our City Blueprint. Now here's a list of our links and images. So yours might be, excuse me, different than mine depending on what you used. And then I won't go through the colors and inks, but what I do want to do is click on Package, and it's asking me where I want to put the folder. So notice that it's asking for a folder name. So it's creating a new folder to put all of this stuff in. So if you look at this check box, it's copying fonts, copying linked graphics, copying graphic links in package, or updating the links. And then I won't do these two. An IDML is kind of like an InDesign Lite file, so that if you are working in different versions with somebody, they can open up the IDML. If you guys are familiar with AutoCAD, it's kind of like their BAC file. Does that make any sense to anyone? So it's kind of a really light file that anyone with InDesign can open, but it's somewhat restricted. So it's not everything, but it's pretty close to everything. So that's what the IDML file is. And then it also automatically generates a PDF for you, which is pretty nice. And we'll talk about the 2 different types of PDFs. This one is called a PDF print, high quality. Let's just leave it there. Now go ahead and click on Package. This will always come up because it says, hey, you might have some fonts that are restricted that Adobe uses only, and so if I try to send this to Tatiana, the fonts might not be included. You just have to see. There are still ways of going on your computer and copying and pasting and emailing it to someone, but Adobe is trying to protect itself right now. So what I'm going to do now is go find that folder. And I want you guys to do the same thing. And let's take a peek at what is in here and how you can share it with someone. So in my InDesign file, here is my Nawabi Digital Graphics Portfolio folder. So it's my file name plus the word folder in a folder. Were you guys able to find yours? Yeah? Not yet? Which, did you export it yet? Okay, so just go up to File and then Package. Down towards the bottom. Yep, and now go ahead and click OK or whatever it's asking, or Package maybe. Is it asking you to save it first? Okay, it looks like you're just about there. Cool. And now just go find it on your desktop. So it's not going to open anything, but now just, sorry, not on your desktop. Go back in your file browser and find that folder for me. Let me do... Does anybody know how I can change my view? I know that like on a Mac, I can show, basically there'd be another column here to show me all these folders and then another column here to show me all those folders. Do you guys know how to do that on a PC? View, okay. Details? Bottom right? I can't see it. don't know. No, not these yet. I don't know.
I know what you mean on Mac, but I don't think include here.
No. Expand open folder, show all libraries, details. I don't think that's it. Okay. Anyway, I was trying to show you guys everything that was in this file. Basically, I want this, but 3 more columns so I can keep going. But that's all right. So when you guys look in that folder, click on Document Fonts for me, and there's Country Blueprint and Gothic. So I was able to get both of those. Okay. If I go back, the links, it took all of my images and put them into one location.
So when did you duplicate the InDesign file? One is heavier and the other one is very light.
So if we pull this right here, do you see that there's the IDML? So one of them's the IDML and the other one is the actual InDesign. Do you see how small this one is compared to that one? So the IDML is like the InDesign Lite. So what you want is the InDesign document. We always include this in a package so that, for example, going back to Tatiana and I, at home, remember how I mentioned that I just barely updated InDesign? If she and I were working together a week ago, she would have had a newer version of InDesign than I would have. So it wouldn't let me open up this, but it would at least let me open up that so I could see her work in an older version. Okay. And then another thing that's nice that it always includes is this PDF preview. And that's also going to be the last thing we do. You don't have to package every time you want to create a PDF. I'm going to show you guys how to just do that. If it'll let me. This is the first time I've opened Acrobat since the update, so it's very excited to see me. But this is what a PDF print looks like. So it's just single pages. It's no longer the book view. And again, this is nice so that if you're working with somebody who doesn't have InDesign at all, they can at least see a preview of what your file looks like. Now with this file, once you guys package something, it's really about being responsible and just working in here now. So now if you guys want to include new images, make sure to maybe copy and paste them in here. Or if you start working for a while, repackage it so that everything comes back to a central location again, so that your files aren't all over the place. Because remember, if you accidentally delete your file from somewhere, not only is it deleted in that certain location, but it's also deleted in InDesign. So Abdu, one of the examples I gave on Monday was that images in InDesign are almost exactly like an AutoCAD X reference. So it pulls from a file location, and once that file moves, InDesign can't find it. So you have to keep it there or update the file location for it. Okay. So that's how you would package. And in a perfect world, we could just throw this on Creative Cloud, and then you guys could keep working on this at home. And the thing that's nice is when you do have a packaged folder, it will scan, okay, at least on a Mac, it scans your computer and it automatically links everything. So it sees, oh, okay, here's the new links folder, here's the fonts. On a PC, I've actually had to go and just tell it where to look. And so it's kind of like one extra step, but at least everything is there for you. Okay, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, by next week, you will be able to save onto Creative Cloud. Before we go tonight, let's go the long way and let's see if we can put this folder online using AdobeCreativeCloud.com and not the app, just so you guys can practice, okay? Before we hop into that though, let me show you guys one more thing. So here's where we are. I showed you how to save. I showed you how to package. And now I want you guys to export as a PDF, spreads, and pages. This is really important because this is how you'll be turning in your homework assignments. So, meet me back in InDesign. And when you come back in, type in Control E for export. So Control E or File Export. For you, it would be Command E. Yeah.
Sorry to be that guy, but I'm still not sure where that thing went.
Oh, I can't tell you. You told it where to go. So when you go to Package.
So I did exactly what you had said.
But.
Okay.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
I can walk you through this. So go up to File, Package.
File, package.
Uh-huh. And what we're checking right now.
I see the package that I created,
But where is it? So sorry. Tell me where it is up here. So see how here I see like this PC, desktop, this folder? Where did you put it?
I put it in this PC, my folder type,
Okay.
and then I put it into this folder here, and it's the package. So this is where I'm at.
Okay, cool.
And then I click here, and I've got those same things,
Uh-huh.
and that's all we're supposed to do. We're
That's
not
it.
supposed to pull it back into this.
No, we're not. That's just, we essentially saved it so that we can get back to it later. That's it though. But now I'm back in here. So I'm just back in my portfolio file. But other than reviewing the contents of the package, we didn't do anything else.
How do you do that?
You just did it. So
No.
click on the Finder down here for me.
No, you went through this whole thing about knowing what fonts were in there and what pictures.
Okay, so click on Document Fonts. It should be the first thing, right? Document, double click. Mine, I know that this is Country Blueprint, and I know that that's Century Gothic. What have you got? So over here, TTF is True Type Fonts. Just read those two things to me.
Both words I can pronounce.
All right.
ARIALDB, and then Country
Okay.
Blueprint is the second one.
All right, so Arial something. Cool. Now go back for me. Double click on links.
I'm sorry, go back to where's the back button?
Right here. I'm dancing for you.
Yeah, there's not one on my screen.
Yep, there is. Okay.
Okay, links, and then do the pictures. View is different on mine, obviously.
Yep, I was playing with mine. I went to view,
Okay.
and then I changed mine to large icons.
Okay.
Not what I meant to do.
Large
I was
icons.
trying to see something else, but you know.
Okay.
You with me now?
All right, we'll see where this goes. Thank you.
Cool. That's really it. That's all we did. But now back in here, this is where we're at the export part. We're going to export it two different ways, and you are going to find out which one I prefer to grade in, and I think you'll immediately see why. So first click on Control E, and it's asking us where we want to save it. So this part's up to you. I'm not going to tell you where to save it, but just know where to find it later. And for this one, add the word pages to me. Sorry, add the word pages for me. No, just add the word pages, and then make sure the type is Adobe PDF print. Hayden, this class is going to be so boring next semester. I know, man. Okay. And then go ahead and hit save. And this menu will pop up. I'm going to hang out here for just a minute. I'm going to wait for you guys there. These are very complex print menus, but I promise that you don't have to know a lot. We are not graphic designers. There's just like two things we have to think about. You guys with me? You guys at the menu? No, you're good. Now you're there. Good. So when we're here, there's only a couple things I want you to think about. The first thing is, do you want pages or spreads? So for this one, we want pages, right? Now, the other thing that you can think about, but you don't have to think about all the time, if there's only certain pages you want, grab those pages. I always print all, but every semester someone's like, well, how do I just print this one page? And I always forget to go over it. So for that one student, this is how you do it. You can click on range and tell it what you want to print. Okay, but for now I'm going to keep it as all. And then, so that was the first thing, pages or spreads. The second thing is output. No, wait, hang on. Compression. Meet me at the second menu down. The first menu was general. Do you see the second menu is compression? Okay. There is something that says image quality. And image quality. It says it twice. Does yours say maximum on both? Okay. I don't know why, but every once in a while, I will have students that, so before, this is new for me, minimum used to be draft. I've never seen minimum before. Don't print at anything other than maximum, or it just looks pixelated. There's no reason why you shouldn't go maximum. Don't worry about trying to, well, okay. Later on, you can worry about trying to make smaller files, but the point of Photoshop and InDesign isn't to have small, compact files. It's supposed to have big, robust, bursting with pixels files, okay? We want as much resolution as we can get. Have any of you guys worked on a computer with one of those, like, high-resolution displays? They're pretty amazing. Even, like, my eyes are like, wow, look at all the detail. So especially now, everything should be maximum because it might look fine on an older monitor like this, but send it to somebody with a new monitor and it could look pixelated. So maximum. Now after all that, hit export for me. And it's not going to do anything yet. We're going to have to go find it in a minute. I know that a lot of programs like Revit and AutoCAD automatically like spit out a preview of it, right? This doesn't do that, okay? Let's do one more while we're here. Do Control E again for me.
So after the compression, you just export.
Yep, those are the only two things. Think about pages or spreads and then compression maximum. And after a while, really you won't have to think about it. It's almost always set to that, but I just wanted you guys to know that it's there, so if you print something and it looks pixelated, you might know why. So for the second one, add the word spreads to the end of it. And then what we're going to do in here is when we hit save, change it to spreads. And we've already checked our compression. It still should be maximum. And then hit export. Yeah.
Where do you go spreads?
So let me go back to Control E. So on the first page where it says General, Pages, right here. It's a lot to look at, especially the first few times you do it. Now once you do that, what I want you guys to do is to go find those two PDFs and open them up in Acrobat and meet me here. Mine still aren't opening in Acrobat. I know, right? I always like to do fit one full page. Whoops. No, no, no. Yes, I do want you to be my default.
I need to install Acrobat.
Oh no, that's all right. And for a lot of you guys in the lab, it might be your first time opening Acrobat, so it might just take a minute to kind of initialize. Adobe Acrobat. So mine was doing the same thing, and I'm actually resetting the default. So if you're having trouble, one other thing you can do, search for Acrobat here, launch it the first time so it can do its thing, and then from Acrobat go to File, Open.
What if we don't have Acrobat?
You'll have to look at my screen and go, ooh, ah, I can't wait. Hey man, I've been here. I'm trying to help you through it. Burn, Chris, that was a burn. Dang. All All right, so I'm going to open up both of those, and I'm going to let you guys scroll through, and I'm going to ask you guys in a minute what the difference is. You don't have to tell me yet, but scroll through pages and spreads and try to see what the difference is. Do you see the difference? Oh wait, no. You can't see the difference, but you oohed and awed.
It's like a different app for the
Okay, that's all right.
So on the spreads, it doesn't show it doesn't show it like as a portrait. It's like
Yeah.
landscape.
So what it's doing is it's showing you booklet style. So let me go back. So pages is just single pages, 8.5 by 11. Tatiana, did yours work? Okay, I saw a furrowed brow. I wasn't sure. But then in spreads, it prints the PDF how it's supposed to look in person or online. And so my rule of thumb is that if you're sending it somewhere to get printed, whether it's this printer back here or Kinko's or anywhere, send them pages because they need each individual page to print. But if you're sending it to anybody to actually see what it's supposed to look like as a booklet, send them that booklet, because especially a portfolio, it won't make sense if you have your title on one page and then your graphics on another page. So that's the difference between the two. And so with your rough drafts, I always want it as a spread layout. I don't want your InDesign documents. I can't open them. I don't have your files. I don't have your fonts. And so most, if not all, of your InDesign documents that you'll be submitting to me will actually be a PDF spread. The very last thing that you turn in will be a package with everything in it. And that's just so that, God forbid, if anything happens to all of your originals, you can hit up Canvas and be like, oh, there's all my originals right there that I turned in however long ago. Okay? Sabrina. No, it doesn't work that way, because right now, a spread layout, this is considered one page. And so what it would do is it would print 2 pages on one and then another 2 pages on another. So if you think about the way a printer works and feeds, it'll print one side and then suck it back in and print the other side. Or if it can't do that, it prints all of the odd pages and then you flip it back in and it prints all the even pages. I hate printing that way, so usually the automatic double-sided is the way to go. And in this lab, I think we do have an automatic double-sided. Let me see. Did I hear a yes? Trey, was that you?
Yeah, it's right up there. It says print. No, not there. You just go up. Print on both sides.
Up or down from here?
It's just right below your arrow.
Okay, cool. Now I know what it feels like to be you guys. No, there. Print both sides of paper. So not every printer does this, but we love printers that do, because it automatically it spits out the first page, sucks it back in, and does the other side. Back in the day, we didn't have this, so again, we would have to do, I'm sure it has it on here. Do you guys see even and odd pages? Wait, more options? Look, they've buried it. Even or odd pages. So there are some printers, or I don't know why it still has it, but it does.
So by default, you choose the same format from the InDesign 8.5.
Yep. So everything's still here. So 24 by 36, 11 by 17, anything. So whenever you guys make something in InDesign to have it be printed, save it as a PDF or JPEG and then send it to whoever to be printed. Even if you're printing here, I always like to print it from a JPEG or a PDF. I don't know why. Okay. All right, so with that, you guys have a little bit of lab time left. In Monday's class, we're still working in InDesign, and then we'll have a little bit of time to keep working on this. This won't be due until the end of class on Wednesday. I'm going to give you guys some lab time, so if you want to jump ahead and turn it in, please do. But remember, this assignment is open. So even if you turn it back into me Monday, by Wednesday I might already have comments for you for the second round. So it's going to be a back and forth a few times until we kind of get it nice and honed. And it's not like you have to return it in a minimum of 4 times. If you get it the first time, awesome. I'm glad you got it the first time. But I really want to spend some time critiquing and teaching you guys some tricks of the trade.
First turn-in's Monday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yep, by Wednesday. Tomorrow doesn't count. So it's going to be a crazy weekend. But yeah. Say that.
What's the name of campus? How is it entitled?
It's not in there yet.
It's not there yet.
Nope. Nope, not yet. We had one last semester, but it was completely different than this, so I didn't even publish it. So, and in fact, I'm just impressed that people came tonight. I was usually the night before Halloween or the day before Thanksgiving, nobody's here. So I was just going to see how many people were here. So I'm glad you guys came. Yeah, it's usually really quiet. Really, really quiet. All right. Any other questions before I post our lecture? Any other reviews that you want to see from Monday night? Do you guys feel like you have enough to get your rough draft started?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Good.